One.
Bossy, sassy, thugs, and ghetto were words commonly used to paint a negative image of people of African descent in this country. The intent behind those words was to separate and tear us apart. However, resilient, wise, courageous, and exceptional are words I prefer to use when describing people that look like me. Our ancestors endured some unimaginable things, but we still stand today, strong and determined. We couldn't have made it without many brave African American citizens. Today, I would like to highlight Miss Ella Baker, an African American woman who made it possible for me to not only dream big, but to never settle for injustice. On December 13, 1903, the fearless and intelligent Ella Baker was born. Growing up, she was very close to her grandmother, who was a farmer slave. Their bond grew through the stories her grandmother would tell her about the life she lived as a slave. I would be devastated to hear my grandmother speak about the horrible things done to her, so I know it would have been hard for both Miss Baker and her grandmother. From an early age, Miss Baker took education very seriously. In 1927, she graduated from Shaw University as valedictorian. After college, she moved to the Big Apple, New York to seek employment. Growing up in Virginia, then moving to New York was a big moment in her life. She was no longer surrounded by familiar things and people, but rather an entirely different environment with new opportunities. However, Miss Baker noticed a large number of black people had been affected by the Great Depression and thus was living in poverty. This is how she was introduced to political activism, which eventually became her life's work. Her greatest triumph was becoming the co-founder of the Young Negroes Cooperative League. According to Britannica T. Editors of Encyclopedia 2020, the organization's goal is to form cooperative groups that will pool community resources and thus provide less expensive goods and services to its members. Seeing that this group was founded during the Great Depression, this was a very creative way for Miss Baker to help the black people who were in poverty. Miss Baker utilized the YNCL to advocate equality for black women within consumerism cooperatives. Miss Baker's involvement in the NAACP began in 1940. Her involvement in this group allowed her to meet and make connections with many different people. She met people in grocery stores, beauty parlors, and churches. Rather than succumbing to the challenges, Miss Baker never stopped, but allowed her optimism to push her forward because there was still lots of work to be done. In 1957, she traveled down south to meet with many church members like Dr. Martin Luther King. Later, she helped form the Southern Christian Leadership Conference as director. In addition, she oversaw the Crusade for Citizenship, which was a voter registration campaign. Stated in an article, Who is Ella Baker, ND? On February 1st, 1960, a group of black college students that attended the North Carolina A&T University refused to leave Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, where they had been denied access. She quickly ran after this opportunity because she thought it was important to support the young college students during a difficult time, and thus was able to help the students organize a nonviolent coordinating committee. Being a person of color, particularly a woman of color, I was amazed to see the impact Miss Baker had in the progression of black culture. She taught me that with determination, anything is possible, and I hope after hearing from me today, you feel the same. I hope after hearing this woman's journey, you feel empowered to make a difference, especially for those who can't and for those who come behind us.